Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive.
And we've got a huge one today.
A massive topic, yeah. It's arguably defining the entire landscape of international rugby right now.
It really is.
We are looking at the coaching landscape in the Six Nations and comparing it to what's being called the ultimate benchmark.
Rassie Erasmus and the Springboks.
It's a fascinating comparison because for so long, the conversation was just about, who's winning on Saturday.
Right, who won the breakdown, who won the lineout. But now it's shifted. It's about infrastructure. It's about timelines. It's a completely different way of running a team.
We're digging into a breakdown by James Weil from Planet Rugby from February 2026. The article's called Why Rassie Erasmus's Springboks Are the Ultimate Benchmark.
And the insights are, well, they're vital.
They really are, which is probably a good moment to say right off the bat. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on how the game is evolving, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession right now. You do not want to miss these analyses.
It's the best way to keep up, for sure.
So let's start with the aha moment from this article. It's a pretty bold claim.
It really sets the stage.
The source basically says, if your ambition as a coach, whether you're Borthwick or Galthié, is to be as good as South Africa today, you've already lost.
Right. It's what the article calls the time horizon problem. The argument is, if you're benchmarking against the 2026 Springboks or even the 23 World Cup winners, you're chasing a ghost.
Because by the time you catch up to that standard...
Rassie's already moved the goalposts. He isn't planning for this weekend. He's operating 2 World Cup cycles ahead.
That is just a terrifying thought for any opposition. While everyone else is fighting for their jobs, he's sitting there with a contract through 2031.
Well, that stability, it allows for a completely different level of infrastructure. The source calls it a Formula One technical operation.
I love that comparison, like a pit crew where every single person has a microscopic job.
That's exactly what Rassie has built.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that team. You got Tony Brown running the attack, which we all know is world-class.
But it's the combination of minds that makes it so scary, right?
Absolutely. Look at the unit. You have Jerry Flannery and Felix Jones on tactical expertise. But then you have Dwayne Vermeulen.
The legend himself. But surely he's just there for the old school grit, a bit of motivation.
See, that's the misconception. The source points out his role is actually highly technical. He's described as a mobile unit coach.
A mobile unit coach. Okay, what does that even mean in practice?
It means he's feeding real-time tactical communications from the perspective of a former World Cup winning number 8.
So not just shouting from the sidelines.
Not at all. He's reading the opposition's body language, how they're folding around the ruck and relaying that specific intel to the box. It's like it's live data processing.
And then there's Jocko Piper. This one, to me, really stood out.
Oh, this is arguably the smartest move of the lot.
Hiring a former international referee as a laws and discipline advisor.
Exactly. He's there to decode law interpretation in real time. We all know rugby laws are. Let's just say, subjective.
That is a very polite way of putting it.
Caper is there to tell the coaching box exactly how the ref is interpreting the breakdown in that specific moment. So while other teams are getting frustrated, South Africa is adjusting their entry angles by 5 degrees.
It's marginal gains, weaponized.
It is. And clearly, this setup is the envy of the world. I mean, we have to talk about the Wolf of Wall Street moment.
My favorite part of the source material. It just perfectly encapsulates the vibe in that camp.
It's hilarious, but it speaks volumes. So, New Zealand Rugby is in a bit of a panic. They sacked Scott Robertson.
Which is huge news in itself.
And they decided they wanted Tony Brown back. They tried to poach him.
So you got the All Blacks calling. Most coaches would issue a polite press release. What did Rassie do?
He didn't issue a statement. He went to X and posted an AI-generated meme.
A meme.
A meme.
Huh.
He took that famous clip from the Wolf of Wall Street, I'm not fucking leaving.
And put Tony Brown's face on Leo DiCaprio?
He did. It's iconic and so dismissive. But it wasn't just a joke. Brown confirmed it. He has no break clause. He's staying.
And you compare that stability to the volatility elsewhere. Scott Robertson getting sacked, Steve Tandy inheriting a decline in Wales.
Or Scotland, where the source suggests Gregor Townsend is only surviving because there are no clear alternatives.
Exactly. It's short-termism versus long-term legacy. And the unions that are closing the gap, France, England, they're the ones mimicking that long-term view.
They're backing coaches like Galthié and Borthwick through to 2031.
So stability is the foundation. But let's talk about what that stability lets you build. The source makes a big distinction between depth as injury cover and depth as system design.
And this is a critical distinction. First, look at the numbers. In 2024, Erasmus used 49 players across 14 tests.
49 players, that usually signals chaos, doesn't it?
Usually, yes. But for the Boks, it's the opposite. It means the system functions independently of the person. If even Erasmus gets injured, the structure doesn't collapse.
A new part just slots in.
That is system design. The backup isn't just holding the fort. They're an optimized part of the machine.
And the source points out, England and France are finally getting this right. Look at England under Borthwick.
No, he's not just relying on one guy. The depth charts are incredible. Guy Pepper at flanker, Spencer and Mitchell at 9.
And at 10, it's an embarrassment of riches, Finn Smith, Marcus Smith, George Ford.
Exactly. And we saw it when Tom Curry went down. The breakdown work just continued seamlessly through Earl and Underhill. It was next unit in.
And France is doing the same thing. Galthié drops Gregory Aldrich.
One of the best number 8s in the world.
And brings in Lenny Nucci without losing any intensity.
And the counterexample in the article is pretty brutal towards Ireland.
It is a harsh assessment. It talks about the post-Sexton era.
The source argues that when Ireland lost Sexton, their attacking variety just disappeared. The system was built so heavily around his genius that it faltered.
That's reliance, not design. This is a really interesting point to pause on, and I want to ask you listening right now, what do you think of this depth strategy? Is it sustainable for every team? Can a team like Scotland or Wales ever truly achieve that system design? Let us know. And hey, while you're thinking about it, remember to subscribe to Rugby Obsession for more insights into these coaching strategies.
So we have the infrastructure, we have the depth, but we need to get into the weeds of the on-pitch tactics.
Right, because smart coaches aren't just copying the 2023 Springboks, they're trying to beat the 2027 version. Let's look at France first. Le principe de couleur.
This is fascinating tactical engineering. Galthié divides the pitch into 3 vertical zones: rouge, blanc, blue.
Red, white, and blue. Very French. The white zone is the middle, I assume.
Correct. The central channel. And the strategy is incredibly disciplined. For the first 3 or 4 phases, France attacks exclusively in that white zone.
Why? Why not just spread it wide if the space is there?
Because of the reaction it forces. If you hammer the middle, the defense naturally has to compress. It sucks defenders in. It's a gravity well.
Okay, I see. So you force them all to cluster.
Exactly. And once they're sucked in, France explodes wide into the blue or red zones.
The source mentions that match against Ireland where they made their defense look pedestrian.
Because they created chaos. Louis Bielbiari scored twice on the edges. He basically walked in because the defenders were all trapped in the middle.
But here's the real why. This isn't just about beating Ireland.
No. It's designed specifically for South Africa.
To beat the rush defense.
Correct. They are predicting that by 2027, the Bobojawash will be even better at suffocating the wide channels. So you have to create compression in the middle first to open up that space. You break the rush by forcing it to turn inward.
That is 4D chess. Now, what about England's approach, the numerical wave attack?
This is Borthwick's answer. It's built around creating relentless numerical overloads using 3 specific components.
Okay, break down the roles. First, Tommy Freeman.
His job is to straighten the seams in the 13 channel. The source notes he runs with square hips.
Square hips, explain that.
It means you're running straight down the throat of the defender. It forces them to plant their feet and stop drifting. It fixes them in place.
Got it. Freeman pins them. Then Ben Earl.
Earl is the engine. He wraps behind pods to reappear as a +1 attacker where he has no right to be. He's cheating the math.
And finally, George Ford at fly half.
Ford's role is high risk. The source says he stands suicidally flat.
Suicidally flat? That sounds dangerous.
It is. He's taking the ball right in the face of the defense, distributing at the very last second.
The source points to that 48-7 win against Wales as the perfect execution, but there's a huge red flag.
A massive one. The bomb squad. England's strategy is an exhaustion strategy. It relies on the defense getting tired.
But South Africa doesn't get tired in the same way.
Precisely. Just when England needs the defenders to be tired, here comes a fresh Eben Etzebeth, a fresh Malcolm Marx.
So can you exhaust players who just ran onto the field?
The source doubts it. And George Ford, standing suicidally flat against a fresh rush defense. Well, that might not end well.
So England's system might hit a brick wall against the one team they're trying to catch.
That's the tension. Numerical overload versus rotating brutality.
We've talked tactics, we've talked systems. But we have to talk culture. Rassie was named Daily Mavericks Person of the Year for 2025, not just for winning.
No, it was for a culture of empowerment and transparency. Those 49 players we mentioned, they all bought in.
And we're seeing this ripple effect. Look at Italy. They used to be the wooden spoon guarantee.
Gonzalo Quesada has done a remarkable job. The source says he combines Nordic discipline with Latin passion.
The perfect recipe for them.
He has players like Michel Amaro and Nacho Brex as cultural heartbeats. It's about authentic identity.
It's interesting that the soft skills are becoming so important, but Rassie is also winning the intellectual battle, isn't he?
This is where he operates on another level, his YouTube series against zombie rugby.
Right, arguing against homogenization.
And he has this concept, the source calls it sporting eugenics.
What does he mean by that?
He argues that if we pursue pure speed and aerobic fitness above all else, we kill diversity. The game needs to remain a place for both Keslan Colby at 80 kilograms and Franz Malherbe at 135 kilograms.
If everyone's the same, we lose what makes rugby special.
And by winning these public arguments, he's defining the terrain everyone else competes on. He's shaping the laws to suit his philosophy.
It really is Rassie's world, but the gap is closing, or at least the chase is getting smarter.
Yes. The main lesson is that the best coaches, Galthié, Borthwick, Quesada, are projecting forward.
Which sets up some incredible future matchups. France versus South Africa in 2027.
That's the clash of future systems, the tricolor compression against the evolved rush defense.
And England versus South Africa.
The test of whether that numerical wave can survive the bomb squad. Irresistible force against the immovable object.
It is going to be absolutely thrilling, and I want to throw this out to you, the listener. We've laid out the blueprints. France's compression, England's wave. Which one do you think has a better shot at dismantling the Springboks? Let us know your thoughts and opinions.
It's the ultimate question in rugby right now.
It certainly is. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the tactical future of the game, please make sure to subscribe to Rugby Obsession. We'll be here tracking every evolution as we head toward the next World Cup.
There's always more to learn.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.